You know, we're always told to play it safe with our money, right? That cash is king. But what if that safe choice, the one you think is protecting you, is actually a guaranteed way to lose? Today, we're going to dig into why holding too much cash might just be the riskiest financial move you can make.
All right, so first things first, let's completely dismantle a myth we've all heard a million times. The idea that in a crazy, volatile world, stashing your money in cash is the ultimate safe move. I mean, it feels right, doesn't it?
Yeah. This phrase right here, this is the mantra of financial prudence for so many people. It just sounds like pure common sense. When the economy feels shaky, it seems totally logical to run to the safety of cash and just protect what you've got. But let's really challenge that for a second. What if all that caution, that move to protect your capital by just holding it in cash, is actually, quietly, setting you up for a massive failure? Okay, so here's the first hidden trap, and it's a big one: inflation. It's like a silent thief. While the number in your bank account looks exactly the same, nice and safe, its real value, what you can actually buy with it, is shrinking every single day. So even though you feel safe, you are guaranteed to be losing ground. And this brings us to a really crucial point about how wealth actually works in the world we live in. See, it's not just about the absolute number in your account. It's all about where you stand compared to everybody else.
Economists have a great term for this: positional goods. It sounds a little academic, but the idea is simple. Think about things like a great house in a great neighborhood, or getting into an exclusive school. Their value isn't fixed. It's all about whether you can afford them compared to the next person. In a way, modern society is kind of like a ranking game, and your wealth decides your rank.
So, let's do a quick thought experiment here. Is $1 million a lot of money? Well, as you're about to see, that question is impossible to answer without more information. This slide just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? Wealth is completely relative. If everyone around you has 10 grand, your $1 million makes you an absolute elite. But if all your neighbors have 10 million, well, suddenly you're the poor one on the block. The number in your account didn't change one bit, but your social standing, your real purchasing power, it just fell off a cliff.
And that is the real hidden risk of holding cash, especially when other assets like stocks and real estate are growing in value. By standing still, you are actively falling behind. It's not just that you're losing a little to inflation, you're losing your entire position in the game. This brings us to a pretty mind-blowing realization. Choosing to hold cash isn't a passive, do-nothing decision. Oh no. It is an active and, I'd argue, very risky financial bet. In the world of finance, holding cash is what's called taking an implicit short position. Now, what that really means is you are betting that every other asset out there, stocks, real estate, businesses, you name it, is going to fail. Your cash only becomes more valuable if everything else crashes and burns. You are literally making a bet against progress. I love this quote because it just nails the reality of the situation. Simply by existing in a modern economy, you are in the game. You're on the court. There is no sideline to run to, no halftime to take a break. Holding cash isn't avoiding a choice, it is a choice, and one with huge, huge consequences. And you can really see the difference in how people approach this. The typical retail mindset is all about, okay, I've made some money, so I'm going to sell to lock in my gains and wait on the sidelines. But a mature investor knows there are no sidelines. Your capital has to always be working. You don't just sell, you rotate your money into a better opportunity. Warren Buffett is the perfect example of this. People asked him why he didn't sell Apple stock after its unbelievable run-up, and his logic was incredibly simple. He said he hadn't found a better place to put that capital. His decision wasn't about taking profits from what happened in the past, it was about maximizing his expected returns for the future. That is a mature mindset. Okay, so if holding cash is basically a guaranteed way to lose in the long run, what's the answer? Well, it doesn't mean you should have zero cash. Of course not. It just means you need a much smarter, more scientific strategy for the cash you do decide to hold. First off, we have to understand that not all cash is created equal. There's what I'd call dead cash. That's the money just sitting in a regular old savings account getting eaten alive by inflation. And then there's working cash. This is money held in things that are still safe and easy to access, but they actually give you a real return. So what does this working cash actually look like? Well, we're talking about things like money market funds, short-term treasury bills, or other kinds of high-yield instruments that you can still get your money out of quickly. The goal is super simple. Make your cash an asset that generates a yield for you, not just a pile of dead paper in a bank vault. And I mean, just look at the difference here. It is absolutely staggering. A standard savings account might get you what?
Less than 0.5%? Meanwhile, a U.S. Treasury bill, one of the safest investments on planet Earth, could be yielding over 5%. You can make your cash work for you instead of against you.
But here's the real secret sauce to all of this. It's not about trying to pick the perfect investment. It's about taking your emotions, your fear, and your greed completely out of the equation. You need a disciplined system that's based on rules you set ahead of time, not on your gut feeling about the market.
Here's a super practical example. Let's say you're a pretty conservative investor. You could set a rule to keep your working cash between, say, 50 and 70% of your whole portfolio. So if the stock market has a huge rally and your cash position drops below that 50% floor, your rule says you have to top it back up. On the flip side, if you've been saving a lot and your cash piles up past that 70% ceiling, the rule forces you to invest that excess money. This mechanical approach stops you from making bad decisions based on fear or greed. So let's just boil this whole scientific strategy down to 3 simple, straightforward steps. Number 1, set your rebalancing ratios, your floor and your ceiling for cash, and you have to stick to them. Number 2, use opportunity cost as your guide. Only move money when you find a genuinely better opportunity. And number 3, strengthen your cash flow so you can maintain this discipline for the long haul. So we'll leave you with this one question to really think about. In a world where standing still financially means you are actively falling behind, take a hard, honest look at your own strategy. Is your cash a productive asset that's working for you, or is it just a silent, losing bet against the future?
Smash like and subscribe.